Join me as I make my stuffed shells recipe.
I know what's on your mind.
Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Ravi. Make sure you are liking, commenting, sharing, hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. Alright, so what are we making today? Today we're making my mom's recipe of stuffed shells. Now remember, all the different recipes that I do are something easy and quick that you can make for your family in a single day. Not everything is going to be from scratch. Okay, so we are getting ready to get the water boiling. So while that's ready to boil, we're going to go ahead and start the meat. Alright, so I just use 1 to 2 pounds of ground beef. You use the amount that is good for your family. Okay, make sure it is thawed. Y'all know what to do. So make sure you are browning your ground beef and seasoning to taste. Chili powder, seasoned salt, basil, parsley, pepper, garlic powder, and a little bit of slacker mama. So while we're waiting for that to start browning, we're going to go ahead and chop up the onions and bell pepper. Again, I have a family of 3, so we don't need a lot. Let's go ahead and get a piece of this onion. Don't need a lot.
Be sure to keep an eye on the meat while you're chopping your vegetables so that it doesn't stick or overcook. Okay, back to the onions. I'm not a professional chef, so I just chop until it looks good to me. I like my vegetables chunky, so you can cut them to the size that you like. And yes, I like to eat raw onion. Be sure to mix in the onions well so they can brown along with the meat. Okay, time for the bell pepper. Again, I like my vegetables thick, but you chop them to the size that you prefer. Dump them in and give them a great mix.
So I do like my veggies chunky inside. You know, you can chop it the to the consistency that you prefer. I like mine chunky so that it can cook down a little bit, and I can still tell that they're in there once we start mixing the rest of the ingredients in. We're gonna let this sit and continue browning while we get ready to put the noodles or put the shells into the pot. I usually don't use this brand. It is my backup brand. The brand that I typically use was out of stock. I haven't even been able to find it for a while, so we are using this brand today. It works just fine. All right, so make sure your water is boiling. Open it up. Okay. Now remember, I'm not making pasta from scratch. Okay, I'm just a simple mom trying to make a meal for my family. So boxed noodles it is. So while we're waiting for that, we're going to go ahead and set the oven. Got to turn the oven on. And I like to set it to about 425 for a preheat. And just to know, I do like to use the ground beef that has like a 90% to 95% because then I really don't have to drain it. There's not a lot of grease left over. All right, so we're going to sit there and let that steam. We're going to cover it so that the veggies can steam and get a little softer before we start putting it into the rest of the mix and the shells. We're going to let the shells continue boiling. We're only going to cook them about halfway because then they're going to finish cooking while they are in the oven. This is just enough to soften them up a little bit, make them malleable so that we can then cook them. All right, now it's time to start preparing the other portion of our stuffing. So we're going to go ahead and take the ricotta cheese. All right.
And we're just going to slightly season the ricotta cheese with some black pepper and a little bit of garlic powder. And let's give it a good mix.
Okay, so after the ricotta cheese, let's put a little bit of the 6 cubes Italian in there as well to give it some ooey gooey. So I use about half the bag of this.
And we're going to give it a good mix.
Okay, now it's time to check on our meat. Yes, looks good. Okay, so then we're going to just take this. Like I said, there is no need to drain. There is literally like no grease in there. Okay, so we're going to dump that right in. And we're going to turn off the noodles. And we're going to go ahead and get this all mixed together. Okay, so this is what the mix looks like as we are stirring it together and waiting for the noodles, for the shells, to get soft enough. Okay, so just make sure it's a really good mixture. Make sure it's all mixed together. Okay, that there's no big clumps of ricotta that doesn't have anything touching it. All right, you get all the veggies in there. There you go. Perfect. This is what it should look like. Okay, this is what goes inside of your shells. All right, so now we need to go ahead and drain our shells, okay, and get ready to stuff them. All right, so what are we using for a pan? I'm just using a regular half pan, aluminum half pan, so that it's easy to store and easy to toss out when we are all finished. Okay, so I do just leave them back in there. I run it through some cold water. I run the noodles through some cold water so that they're easier to handle and stuff. All right, so let's get the sauce going. Okay, for the sauce, I just use Prego, and then I just kind of heighten up a little bit. As I said, I don't do a lot of things by scratch when I'm just trying to make a quick meal for the family. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead with it over here. I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there. Then of course, I like to add some extra garlic. I love garlic. More parsley and basil. The tap of chili powder. You see, I'm keeping the seasonings consistent to have a consistent flavor all the way through. Now don't forget to stir this up. Okay. And because my husband likes it sweet, we're just going to use just a dollop of sugar. Just 2 of those. 1, 2, that's it. We're going to stir this up and we're going to keep this on low heat. Okay. We're going to keep this on low heat while we stuff the shells. Let's stuff our pasta. Okay, so like I said, these are still moderately firm, so we can manipulate them, and it's okay if they're a little broken. All right, it's still a good noodle. Okay, just be careful that you don't tear all of them. Okay.
Stuffing the shells is definitely the most tedious part of the process. It does take about 10 minutes or so to get all of the shells stuffed to a good consistency. Now, the whole time I was doing this, I knew I was going to fast forward through this process for the video, and I just wish I could snap my fingers and have it all done. Said it is a labor of love, and it's not too difficult. It's just tedious.
All right. So this is one pan, and I still have some shells left over. I could probably do another full pan out of what's left over. Now, sauce is ready. I like to be generous with the sauce because the sauce is what's going to help the noodles finish cooking. Or it's going to help the pasta finish cooking. All right. And it's okay. It's okay. Can't have too much sauce. Okay. So make sure everything has a good layer. Coat it. Alright. And that is what that looks like. And of course, we have to do a sprinkle of the cheese. Okay, just a sprinkle. Give that a good coating, like that. Okay, one more. Okay, that's what that looks like. We're gonna cover it. Going to the oven for about 30 minutes. Okay, hey Google, set timer for 30 minutes.
Ooh, now it's time to make our garlic butter sauce.
Okay. Okay, so we have that. Basil, garlic, the brush, stir everything up. Butter bread.
Alright, time to butter the bread. I like to butter both sides just to have flavor going throughout the bread. And then once we do that, we're going to go ahead and put some more cheese on the top of it, spread it out so it's nice and ooey gooey.
Okay, so don't eat that.
Alright, time to start the second pan. With what we have left, we should have just enough ingredients to make nearly a full pan. During this time, the first batch of garlic bread did come out. And yes, that is hubby coming and stealing the piece of bread.
Yeah, how is it?
Delicious. Let me dip some of that marinara sauce.
We got just enough left to dip.
And on that note, let's go ahead and transfer the rest of the marinara into the bowl for later dipping. Now let's make the last few batches of our cheesy garlic bread.
Okay, it is now out of the oven. Let's see what it looks like. Yummy. All right, let's get one scoop.
And just in the nick of time, my fellas are home and they are hungry. All right, let's give it a taste. Oh, I should have let that cool off just a little bit more. And now before I can finish my video, here they all come trying to get at the food. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can get more videos like these. Toodles!